Well, that was fun. Haven't had that happen in a little bit. It was the infamous iPhone camera app saying that it can't record any more video because it's out of space error that sometimes happens when it's out of space and it hasn't been rebooted for a while. So, yeah, and I've got, I want to say like 8 gigs free or more. Like I didn't even look at the numbers. I just popped up the thing, thing in the control panel that shows how much available space I have, and yeah, when it shows that huge size of a gap free, I'm not even looking at numbers. I'm just like, oh yeah, this phone still has that retarded problem. Anyway, so in case you didn't watch the other one first, it's Saturday, December 18th, 4:28 p.m. And when that one abruptly cut me off, I was talking about how that giant wooden box that's been sitting in the alley next to the old Crosscut Canal Park is finally gone, and how it would make an interesting, have the potential for like an interesting shelter for a homeless person. It's like someone rolling with their kids. Good times. Miss my kids being that small. Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure exactly where it was. It seemed like somewhere about when I was mentioning that, but it cut off, and kind of where I was going with that was that if I was just kind of pondering to myself that if I was to become homeless, which is something that's a possibility that's been lingering pretty solidly for, well, I'd say since May. I mean, I lost my housing assistance in May, and I can't say every month since May has been a struggle to pay the rent, but certainly some more than others, and especially these, last couple of months. I mean, I've been coming up short on, like, I've been not only coming up short, like I haven't even had, before it was like a matter of God, I hope Priscilla pitches in, or I'm just gonna take every freaking penny I have to pay it myself. And then it turned into, well, I've got my half, I hope to God Priscilla has her half. And the last couple months it's been a matter of, well, let's see how bad Priscilla still wants to live here, because she seems to be working all the time and has no real expenses, being that she uses Lily's bedroom as her office and doesn't have to commute or deal with that, so or even deal with having to pay for a wardrobe, because she can work in her pajamas since she's working from home on a headset, and whereas so let's it's supposed to, I don't know how much money she makes, but obviously it's a decent amount based on the amount of bullshit that she orders that's constantly delivered from Amazon to my place. So let's see how much she's gonna stay, and to her credit, I mean, she's paid most of it the last couple months, so anyway, so the homeless thing has been lingering over my head for quite a bit lately, as I struggle to find something that's going to give me adequate, consistent and adequate enough income to pay that rent. Now, my God, if I was able to do private karaoke parties every day and get paid $300, I'd be rolling in the dough, but those for me are few and far between. I had somebody email me on Thursday night, like late Thursday night, like kind of late to even require something like that, but email's 24 hours, so whatever. And they asked what it would cost, and then if I had video services, and I'm like, well, yeah, and I'm pretty sure I put in the thing that I did karaoke and I was a video DJ. And he, I forget even who it was, but whoever was the person emailing me was like, oh, misunderstanding, and this is something like video introductions of people, and I'm like, well, if you got a recorded introduction to somebody, as long as you send me standard video files, yeah, I can play it. Just make sure you get it to me in enough time that I can download them and do a file conversion. And they're like, oh no, we meant like somebody to, and this is the email I didn't even respond to. I was just kind of rolled my eyes, because the other thing is they asked like what I was charging, for basic DJ services, and they're like, well, the event is only 2 hours, and I don't know about other DJs, but generally speaking, I don't know any that just straight up charge by the hour. Generally speaking, every DJ I know charges by the event with a definite minimum, because the hardest work of the event is packing up all the equipment, moving it to wherever the event is, especially in the case of a one-off event where you just have the one, like, it's a little bit different with bar gigs, because usually you negotiate something with the bar where a certain amount of equipment gets left there, or, usually, not always, but usually, even in situations where, anyway, yeah, usually some stuff gets left there, so that's a little bit, there's a little bit more beneficial. There's going to be more money coming at the very bare minimum next week, if not, more shows within the course of a week. So you're not moving your equipment as much, you're not, and you're coming back for more money. So obviously that's, you're going to cut them a better break. But on a one-off event, generally there's a bare minimum for the actual work involved, which is bringing all the equipment there, unloading it, setting it up, and then at the end of the event, breaking it all down, packing it up, and then hauling it to wherever you're hauling it to store it, and then presumably unloading it there as well. For me, there's like a double dose of that, because most likely at the end of the event, I'll be doing best to get a ride to get my shit home, and at that point I still need to transport it back to Bullock's, where the bulk of it is stored. So anyway, I threw out $200, which I said, my minimum for an event is $200, and it just kind of explained, well, yeah, I do video, just make sure you've got it prepared. And I did, like, they didn't really specify exactly what they wanted, but it kind of seemed like they were thinking that maybe, that I would have a camera, like a live camera feeding into what I was showing on video, which I guess I've seen DJs do that sort of thing. That's a pretty elaborate setup. I'm not equipped for that. It's something I've considered getting equipped for. It was something that I was honestly hoping at some point was going to be sort of the part of the show at Union Jack. And I guess to a very small extent it was. But, yeah. I certainly don't know of any mobile DJs that do that. Not anywhere in like the $200 range, Maybe we talk about guys that do, commercial, and $200 at a small house party, which I guess this is supposed to be, and yeah, different when you start talking about people that do, large corporate events, for municipalities and in city parks and places like that, and those guys are charging $1,000 plus, so yeah, that's different, but certainly nobody in the $200 range is offering that service, I don't think. So anyway, yeah, I said, I could play video files, but would need that. I have no capacity for displaying a live camera. And the person wrote back, and mind you, at this point, like, it did say in my ad that, that currently doing a show on Thursday night. So, if they read my ad that they responded to, that since they clicked since it came in through the Craigslist email reply service, like, they theoretically should have just barely read that in order to click there and email me from there. So, yeah, it said I'm doing a show on Thursday, I'm not available on Thursdays, I have a regular show on Thursdays. So, they should have been smart enough to look at that and go, hey, this guy's actually doing a show right now. So, yeah, at that point I was like too occupied with my show, because it was pretty chaotic Thursday night, as it often is at Bullock's, for me to even really, formulate an intelligent response and type to that as their expectations are just getting more and more ridiculous. But yeah, they responded and said something along the lines of, "Oh no, we were, hoping that you could video portions of what was going on, and that we could get copies of that." Something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not the job of a DJ or a karaoke DJ. That's the job, or even a video DJ. That's the job of a videographer. Not even close to the same thing. And it's my understanding that videographers charge a whole lot more than DJs do. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've been astonished when I've always kind of shied away from DJing weddings, and I know there's good money in that. I just am not comfortable around weddings. It's just an environment I'm generally not comfortable with. I just have anything to do with marriage has just been a bad experience for me. I mean, my parents divorced. I've just been around so many bad marriages, and then my marriage, oh my Lord, like worst thing ever. And so I just don't see, I just have trouble seeing weddings as something being celebrated, and you don't want that negativity at your wedding, so probably hire somebody else. Like if you're getting divorced and you're planning on having a party and having a bunch of loose women at that party to just get freaky and celebrate your freedom after the oppressive constraints of being in a marriage, I am totally down to DJ at that party. I'm very much down to DJ that party. I'll celebrate that. Hell yeah. Anyway, back to the email. So yeah, like they're looking for a videographer. Just like, whoa. Something, and then so anyways, to say with weddings, like from what I've heard, just the price of a photographer at a wedding is super expensive. And I've never been to a wedding where somebody had the funds to get a videographer. I would imagine that that's exponentially more expensive than just a regular photographer. So yeah, and I'm just really put off that somebody honestly thinks that a person is capable of simultaneously being a videographer and a DJ, since both of those are things that involve a substantial amount of concentration in what you're doing. Either or. So, I mean, do they expect that I'm hiring somebody else, and with the at $200? Like, I don't know where they the prices from. Anyway, so not only did I get the thing that basically clarified that what they were wanting was a videographer, and but that they also I told them I had a $200 minimum for all events, and I did explain that that was because regardless, because they were kind of coming at the angle of, well, it's only 2 hours. Okay, granted, that's a pretty short event, but even being only 2 hours, I mean, shit, I think that's all the Christmas parties I used to do for Carrington College were. I think those were only 2 hours. And memory serves, they used to pay me $250. So, yeah, wow, you really balking at $200? Really? And again, they were like, well, but it's just a small event. Such a small event, you want a videographer? It's just a small event. Do you really need to bring so much stuff? And basically, they were like coming at that $200 was too much and a lot less. And I've been thinking, I thought I got the perfect response, but just yesterday I was just too occupied with everything to email them back. And I really should have. Like, I wasn't doing the most, I was just farting around when I was riding that long bus and train ride home from Finish Line. I suppose I could have shot them an email then. And it's not like I was doing anything particularly constructive in the 2 hours after I got to wander in last night. I was really tired when I got home, and I did crash right the fuck out. But I don't know, made some attempts to get Priscilla's interest. Made it very clear, here I am, I'm home, I'm in bed, I'm naked. Do you want some of this? Oh, of course you don't. You never fucking do. But at any rate, yeah, I could have. I've kind of thought what I'm going to say to him, and I could have responded, but it's, I need to email them back today. They're wanting something on Tuesday. I would imagine they probably found somebody else by now, or they've just realized that they've got champagne taste on a beer run, stolen beer budget. But this is a good opportunity to get across the street. 15 minutes of video. I think I'm on schedule to get to the post office on time. Should really check my pocket because it might be time to just stop this video and jog the rest of the way. Dang, I need to switch hands on the phone. Look up. It is 4:44. I'm gonna make it. I thoroughly smashed the screen, by the way, on the NUU phone. Somewhere between wandering at home, and I'm absolutely convinced I didn't drop it. I really don't think I dropped it. I'm just thinking it was just me sitting in my friend Dave's car, which first time I ever rode in Dave's car. He's got a 1990 Civic DX. Basically it's like this, same as my CRX, but with the wagon in the back. Awesome vehicle, and he just recently got it restored and back on the road. And so we were talking old Hondas, and I just think just the pressure, I think it's just got such a weak screen that the pressure of it being in my pocket and me sitting down in the tight confines of a small older Honda, and the other phone pressing against it shattered the screen, which is, I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass that I didn't take the time to have a protective screen put on it. So I'm gonna pay for that. Debating on that as to whether I want to go talk to Jeff about that. I don't know. It just seems like the last time I hung out with Jeff, I kind of felt. I mean, I had a good time hanging out with him, but I mean, he never. I don't know. He just never calls. He never calls. He never writes. I feel kind of unloved, and and generally when I'm trying to get a response for him that is regarding something business related, like my mechanic was at one point looking to get a screen replaced, just the lag time and him responding is just unfreaking believable. Priscilla told me that about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, she needed a new screen on her iPhone 6S Plus. Yeah, she got one too. Hers is severely more messed up than mine is, but it has service. Anyway, she got T-Mobile on it. Anyway, she needed a screen on it, and she said she just went down to Batteries Plus, and they did it while she waited. Like, she just basically sat there, and they knocked the shit out within like 30 minutes. So, as much as I want to help and support Jeff, and he's my friend, yeah, it's something I need to get it fixed. That or tough it out with it busted. What I don't need to be is playing phone tag and being without my phone for God knows how many days it takes for him to handle stuff. But being that it's an NUU phone, I popular iPhones all use the same screen, so it's something people keep in stock. I'm pretty doubtful that the screen for the NUU is something that's kept in stock. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if, just because it is such an extremely low-tier phone, if it's just looked upon as something disposable and there's not even parts available for it. It's a possibility. I haven't done my research on that. And I can't believe I just got sidetracked talking about a stupid piece of shit low-tier cell phone. But I do use the thing all the time, and it's kind of frustrating. The screen shattered, and would like to get that fixed. Anyway, what the heck was I talking about? Oh yeah, so these people that emailed me regarding doing a 2-hour party on Tuesday, early. I'm pretty sure it was an early evening thing. Anyway, yeah, they, so they kind of came back. That was too much money. Can you, well, we don't we don't, we don't need a really elaborate system or anything. And I don't know what they're thinking is elaborate system, what thing needs to be hooked up. I mean, regardless, I'm coming off of a mixer. They already said they need microphones, so I'm bringing microphones, and got to have a mixer at that point, and also some sort of speakers and somewhere to put those speakers. So, I mean, that's a basic system. I was be bringing. I don't know how they figure I could be bringing anything less. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, there is one way I could be bringing less, and that is, because I'm thinking to myself, like, what goes in the suitcase, the black suitcase, which I'm capable of carrying on the bus, which doesn't require that I hire anybody for transportation. And I do have a microphone that goes in there. I have an effects processor that goes in there. My mixer goes in there. My computer goes in there. So I want to respond to them and just let them know that, you know what, I'll do it for $100 if I can plug into, if you guys have a sound system I can plug into. I kind of expect the answer is going to be no. In fact, I think the fact that I've not responded to them since late Thursday night probably guarantees a no, but yeah, that's the response I got coming. Otherwise, yeah, if I'm moving all my shit there, it's $200, man. I mean, as it is, Priscilla was trying to tell me that Ruth was telling her that, and the funny thing is, Ruth didn't say anything to me, but Priscilla was telling me that Ruth had told her that she felt like I had cheated her on on what I paid her for transportation to the party, and did I pay her, much less than the going rate for an Uber? Oh yes, of course I did. But in the same token, I asked her what she would want for that. I explained, where I'd be picking my gear up over at my storage. I probably didn't mention until later that I would have a secondary stop, but I definitely told her before, she picked me up, that there would be a secondary stop at my place to grab the equipment that was in my place, and then off to the spot in Scottsdale, and that at the end of the night, she would be picking me up at that spot and transporting me, me and all my gear home. The storage was closed. It'd all be going to home. And she had quoted me a price, and I paid her 2/3 of that price when she dropped me off. Definitely didn't want to pay her all the money, or I feel she wouldn't have any real motivation to actually come pick me up. And then on the way back, I paid her, well, actually, no, I paid her way more than 2/3. But anyway, I paid her the rest of what I owed her on the way back, and an additional $5, which seemed like a pretty fair tip to me. Certainly it was higher than a 20% tip, so yeah. Maybe it was a 20% tip. Anyway, it struck me as a reasonable tip. I mean, as a cab driver, that would have made me, on that rate of a fare, that would have made me happy if somebody gave me that tip. So apparently she was complaining about it. So I'm expecting she's going to want more money to do another one. At any rate, yeah, I'm holding firm to the $200, but I'll offer to do it $100. If I got a PA I can, if y'all got a stereo system or a PA that I can connect to, then yeah, that's fine. Because at least then I can do it on the bus, and it's not going to be as much of an ordeal. I mean, at this point, I haven't got a confirmation, so I'm going to have to trek all the way to Bullock's to get my stuff, and then to it. But anyway, I'm at the post office. Yay, I made it.